All right, so now we're going to talk about some best practices relating to meeting minutes. The first item is to ensure that resolutions are properly captured. So resolutions should contain a clear description of what's being approved. So we have a sample resolution here that the Board of Directors of ABC Condominium Association resolves to approve the contract as presented by A+ Landscaping to maintain the exterior planter beds for a 3-year term at an initial monthly cost of X dollars per month. So it's very clear and specific what contractor is being engaged, for what scope of services, for what term, and at what cost. There's enough information here, so if there's any question about what was approved, be it a year from now, 5 years from now, you can go back to that resolution and have a clear understanding of what the board's intention was and what information they approved. You also want to make sure the director that made the motion is captured, as well as the director that seconded that motion. And then a result of the vote taken. So how many directors were in favor, how many were opposed, if there were any abstentions, and that the motion passed. Be sure to note any abstentions. So if there is a director that abstains from approval of a certain item, it is important to note that in certain circumstances. So a roll call vote is not typically required, meaning you do not need to list the names of the directors who voted in favor, the names of the directors who were opposed, and the names who abstained. However, there are certain situations where it's important to capture the name of the director that abstained. For instance, if, and really the most common is a director that is abstaining from approval of a previous meeting's minutes because they weren't there and therefore can't attest to the accuracy of them. So it's important to indicate that that director did not participate in that vote and abstained. Another common reason would be to a potential conflict of interest. So it is important to note that director abstained and to document the reason why, just so that there's clarity and transparency moving forward. Keep the format consistent. So ideally, the same meeting minute template should be used to prepare each set of minutes. Not only does that make things much more efficient, since you're not starting from scratch each month, having a consistent format is just helpful in making sure that record keeping is accurate and clear, concise, and easy to understand. One tip for board members: your managers will often include a proposed resolution for the board that the boards oftentimes adopt with a small tweak. In that case, feel free to use that verbiage. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. It can make your life much easier, especially if you structure the minutes to follow the agenda for the board meeting. It can really make preparation of those meeting minutes after the meeting really straightforward and easy to capture. Another best practice is to circulate draft meeting minutes quickly. Oftentimes we see that minutes are a last-minute addition to board packets and people are kind of revisiting them a whole month later. It's really hard to recall specific details of things that happened well over a month ago. So our recommendation to ensure the most accuracy is to circulate those minutes shortly after a board meeting while the details of the meeting are fresh at everyone's mind. 2 to 3 business days or by the end of the week that meeting occurred is a good guideline to stick to. Best practice is to sign minutes soon after approval. This is another one where we see sometimes a couple months of minutes are signed all at once whenever the secretary has a chance to stop by the office. A really good best practice is to just sign those meeting minutes right there at the meeting. That way you're good to go. There's no follow-up needed. Otherwise, ideally, those minutes should again be signed within a couple of business days after the meeting to make sure that they're available for owners for review, for resale document requests, and other business needs of the association.